Hello, thank you for joining me on today's Daily Insight. Today I'm going to address the subject matter of when God refuses to answer. When God refuses to answer. Is there really a time God refuses to answer people? Well, let's take a look at Ezekiel 20 verse 1 to 4. In this passage of the scriptures, the elders and leaders of Israel came to prophet Ezekiel to inquire of him God's mind. They wanted to know what God would say, but they got a shocker. They were surprised. Instead of God answering their inquiry, God exposed their idolatrous hearts to the prophet. And God said to the prophet, "Should I let myself be inquired of by these men?" Of course, God said no. And God commanded the prophet to declare to these men that everyone that set up his idols, his own idols in his heart, and then allows before him what causes him to stumble into sin, and then came to a prophet to ask the will of God and the mind of God, God said he will not answer him according to his inquiries, but he will answer him according to the multitude of the idols in his heart. This is a situation where God refuses to answer. The problem is there are many people that prefer to make God a consultant, just like these leaders. They stop by to ask God for guidance and direction when they are confused, when they are in a dilemma, when they are in trouble and no one or nothing else seems to work. Then they know where to find God. But when it comes to their heart, they are not willing to give that up. They have a reservation on that part. They're not willing to give controls of their hearts to God. They're not ready to submit their lives to the Lordship of Jesus Christ and not to part ways with their sinful lifestyle. But yet, they want to consult with God when they are in a dilemma. God says, "No, I will not be inquired of by you." See, what we need to know is that God will never reduce himself to a common consultant, a predictor, or a fortune teller, or soothsayer, just because we show up before him. There are people today that they go from one prophet to the other, from one revival to the other, from one prayer meeting to the other, and they are trying to seek what they call the will of God. They're trying to find solution. They're trying to find direction. But their hearts are not given to God. They just want to consult with God. And God says, "No, I am not a consultant." You see, the people that came to Ezekiel, those leaders never really had a change of heart. Because in chapter 20, some other leaders came again to inquire of the prophet. And this time, God responded to them even harsher than before. God said, "Have you come to inquire of me? As I live, says the Lord God, I will not be inquired of by you." Then God said to the prophet, "Will you judge them, Son of man? Judge them. Make known to them the abominations of their father." The truth that I'm sharing today is that even we men of God, we need to let people know that God is not interested in just spewing out answers to their questions and dilemmas without gaining control of their hearts. Because even if he did that, that does not mean that he will not judge them for their sinful lifestyles. At the end of the day, the interesting thing is that actually God does want to answer our inquiries and give us direction. In Psalm 32 verse 8, God says, "I will instruct you and teach you in the way you should go. I will guide you with my eye." But in verse 9 it says, "Do not be like the horse or like the mule, which have no understanding." The fact is, God is interested in answering our inquiries and give us directions, but he delights to do so as our Father, with whom we have a sound relationship, not as a consultant in the time of adversity.